Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Dr. Tomshack, CEO of HealthSource, America's chiropractor. And of course, you're watching the Chiropractor Solution channel, which is the series of videos we put together to help you grow your practice and your lifestyle into the one that you've dreamt of. So before we dive in, please give this video a thumbs up when you're done so that other chiropractors can find this content a bit easier. So Dr. Jennifer, welcome to the series.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, before I dive into actually a question that might require some thought, let's start with a softball. So how long have you been a chiropractor?
15 years now.
15. I bet that flew by kind of fast, did it?
It did. It feels strange saying that.
And you're located outside Chicago?
Yes.
And why did you choose that location?
Well, I'm from small town Iowa. So after graduating, I wanted to move to the big city and it was good. So I stayed.
Here we are 15 years later.
Yes.
Now, when you started there, did you start off as an associate or did you start off owning your own clinic right away?
No, I started as an associate. My first year was for a non-HealthSource chiropractor. And then I quickly knew that was not for me. And I went to be an associate at a HealthSource. And I did that for 4 years before owning my own.
Okay, for 4 years. All right. Now, why did you choose that route instead of just jumping right into your own practice?
I wanted to learn from others. I knew that coming fresh out of school, I was not ready. I was not confident to open up my own practice, especially moving to a location that I was not from. So I put my head down. I learned as much as I could as an associate, and I think it served me well.
Good. Okay, so let's go right back to the last thing you just said. What would you say were the largest mistakes you made as an associate? How about with the first position you took? What were the biggest mistakes?
The first one was probably not asking the right questions before I decided to work there. I thought everybody was as good-hearted as myself, and that was not the case.
Okay, and then how about moving into your second associate position? What were the biggest mistakes that occurred there?
Ooh, I think just staying too long. I think that I was ready to open up my own, but again, it was just that fear factor going out on your own.
Sure.
But I needed a little push to get out of there, and I'm so glad I did.
What was the push? What was the impetus or the catalyst?
It was, you've learned all you can and you're ready. And I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, you're ready, go. Literally a push. Yes, go fly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, look, and you've owned your own practice for how long?
It will be since 2013, so 9 years.
9 years in your ninth year.
8.5 years, yeah.
That is amazing. I remember meeting you before you owned that practice. Unbelievable. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right. So your practice today is quite successful, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. And congratulations on that. You've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna sort of move towards some questions that would be tailored towards people who are thinking, you know what, I want something different. I want something better. Maybe HealthSource has got some answers. Maybe it's right for me, or maybe I just want to find out more. Dr. Jennifer, how has HealthSource helped you build your practice to the level that it is today?
Sure. So biggest thing is the support. Like HealthSource gives you so much support if you are willing to take it, from corporate, from colleagues. And I think me being part of Mastermind really helped me stop plateauing and giving me that extra push, because you're constantly growing. So I think that was the biggest change for me over the last 2 to 3 years to hit that next level. And the training is second to none. So I know every Tuesday, me and my team are training for 3 hours. We're going to train on what HealthSource put out. It's phenomenal. You follow the training, you can't go wrong. And then we train on what we need to, if it's something outside of that HealthSource training too.
Thank you for that. And so all this training that you're describing and the support, what is your plan for this year? What do you plan on growing the clinic? Not in concrete dollars. I'm not talking about that. Percentage wise. How much is it going to grow percentage wise this year?
So we're pretty steady. So I'm hoping for 10 to 15%.
10 to 15% of an already large practice. That's very doable.
Yes.
All right. So what would you tell, or what would be your words of advice to Dr. X who's struggling along? Maybe they got a $500,000 practice or a $300,000 practice, and they're looking at HealthSource because they want a much more successful practice. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them if they said, you know what, I'm thinking about converting to HealthSource, I just don't know?
I would say go see a HealthSource in action, because once you see it, you're going to want to be a part of it. I would say reach out to some of the HealthSource practices that you want to get to and learn from them. Like, that is just golden to me.
So speak to some doctors who are already enmeshed in the HealthSource family. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. See firsthand what we're doing.
For your 15 years, 14 of them have been totally baptized within HealthSource.
Since 2008. Yep.
Yes. You remember when you built that office?
Oh, yes.
Or the original one? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it. So you went into his associate position for 1 year and then 4 years before you owned. Yep. What advice would you give a doctor who is graduating? They do have the financial wherewithal or someone to back them to get into their own practice right away. What would you tell a doctor such as, or new student such as that's ready to launch their own practice? What kind of advice do you have?
I would say be ready to work hard, set your goals, go over the goals over and over and over again, and make sure that you're hiring like-minded people who want the same goals that you do, and just be ready to put boots on the ground, make relationships in your community, and work hard.
If a doctor has the wherewithal to start their own practice as opposed to associating, would you recommend that route?
It depends how confident you are. So if you're confident in it, absolutely. If you're a little bit wishy-washy, I would say, either get with HealthSource, because they will give you the support. If you follow HealthSource there, you're not going to fail. Yeah, that's my big thing. That's
sage advice. So thank you for being very, very authentic and transparent on that. I appreciate that. Listen, I know that you've got a busy day, so I don't want to take up any more time. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Jennifer, because what you shared was really from the heart. And I think that if people, usually the best answer is the simplest answer.
Yes.
And you gave very straightforward, very frank advice. So thanks for doing that. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to help somebody.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You too.